Hey YouTube, it's Corlash1990, and today I have another Alpha Clash deck tech. And the deck I'm going over today is my Khagan or Khagan. I'm going to say Khagan because I like the sound of Khagan better. But anyway, this is my Khagan deck, and it's a green-black deck, and it's all about getting all of his accessory weapon stuff out, and then creating this big, huge, chunky dragon. This deck is very much a gimmick deck, and it's definitely a jank deck, but it is still very fun. And just keep in mind, this is not a competitive, event type deck. This is just mainly for the kitchen table, casual stuff. If I was going more competitive route, I don't even know if I would probably play this contender. I would definitely change the deck up quite a bit. But let's go over the contender because there's a fair amount here to read. He has 1 attack, 0 defense, 30 health. And his always active ability is the first time you play or attach a contender weapon during your turn, you may draw 1 card, which is really good. And then this card may attach up to 4 contender weapons with different names, and that's pretty key. And I'll go over them separately from the rest of the deck after I'm finished reading this card. And then his next ability kicks in when he's at 15 or lower, and it says once per turn during your primary phase, you may engage this card. If you do, choose target contender weapon in your Oblivion, and until end of turn, you may play that card without paying its resource cost. It's very, very good, especially if you're playing against the deck with a lot of accessory removal, and they're trying to blow up all your stuff. You can just constantly get it back. Though do keep in mind, your opponent probably won't let you stay there too long before they end up killing you, so just kind of keep that in mind. So anyway, that is Khagan, and it's his whole dragon token thing is on his equipment and not actually his contender card. So here are the 4 weapons. I run one of each of them, mainly because, legendary, you can only have one of them. And then this is an epic, rare, and then an uncommon for whatever it matters. You could run 4 of each of these if you want to. I would think your draws would get clogged up pretty bad, and especially with how fast-paced this game is, you don't really want a ton of dead draw. We have a lot of search for this stuff in the deck anyway. So I'll go over them in reverse order. So first off, there's Fire Mace, cost 1. Its attach cost is double green. The attached contender gets trigger attack. This card gets +1 attack until on a turn. If the attached contender also gets trigger victory when it kills something, all clash cards you control get +1 attack until on a turn. This weapon can only be attached to a Khagan contender. All 4 of these have that little stipulation on the bottom. So just an aggressive card. I don't necessarily care what this card does a whole lot. It's just we need all 4 of them out to do the little gimmick that we have in the deck. Next is Flame Shield, 2 cost, and it is 1 green to attach. And it says counter attack. You may only activate this effect when the opponent attacks a clash card you control. You may send this attached contender weapon to Oblivion. If you do, send target attacking clash card to Oblivion. And then again, only attached to a Khagan contender. So it's a good little anti-attack kind of strategy. We have other ways of bringing our contender weapons back from the Oblivion. So if you need to use that to live, obviously, do it. We have other ways to get it back. Next is Dragon Scale Armor, 3 cost, and it costs double green to equip. If the attached contender loses health during an opponent's turn, attached contender and clash cards you control get +1 defense until on a turn. Pretty solid defensive card there. And then finally, the sort of key to this whole kind of puzzle that we have going on here is the Dragon Helm. Definitely the best weapon out of all of them. 2 cost, double green to equip. It has Safeguard and Unrivaled. Attached contender also gets Safeguard, so it's really hard to deal with this, and then it's really hard to deal, indirectly to the contender here. Khagan clash cards you control can't be sent to Oblivion by opponent's card effects, so stuff like this here that sends stuff directly to Oblivion, this kind of stops that. Attached contender gets once per turn during your primary phase. If this card has Dragon Helm, Fire Mace, Flame Shield, and Dragon Scale Armor attached, you may exhaust this card. If you do, create a 10/10 green elemental or eternal Dragon Clash token with Breakthrough, Exclusive, and Flight. And again, it can only be attached to Khagan. So anyway, that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get all 4 of these out and equipped, which does take some time, and this deck is very green greedy with its resources and wants a lot of green resources. And then you want to basically, have these out, activate it, get your big, huge 10-10 breakthrough flight dragon out. Exclusive means you can only have one of them in play, which you only need one of them. If you get this out, it's probably just game over unless your opponent somehow deals with it immediately or fogs out the attack or something crazy like that. But yeah, this is what we're trying to do. The deck doesn't need this to win, but it certainly is great when it happens. And I would say it happens about like half the time during my games. Again, it kind of just depends on the draw and your searching and how lucky you are with all of that and how aggressive the opponent is playing. So now we'll go into the rest of the deck. Again, as usual, I have all of the Clash cards and all of the non-Clash cards. This is a very Clash card heavy deck. So let me get everything separated over here. All right. So first off, I am running for Khagan the Dragon. This card's very, very good. Really just solid control card. One of the better Clash cards, I think, in the game. It's a 6-cost, 5/5 flight. And trigger enter, you may send target Clash card to Oblivion. So it pretty much just answers most anything that your opponent plays while also proposing like a pretty big threat on its own. Next, I have 2 Pestilence, Devious Servant. It is a 4-cost, 0 attack, 4 health, exclusive, so it can only, there will only be one of them in play. This card gets +1 attack for each card in your hand. And as trigger attack, if you have 3 or fewer cards in hand, draw 1 card. That's mainly why we play it in here. It's a really good, just all-around average beat stick and blocker, but when it's attacking, it's drawing us cards, digging us through our deck to hopefully find our equipment. And at the end of your turn, if you have 7 or more cards in hand, ready another target Clash card you control. I don't really get that to pop off all that much. Again, it's just a good 4-cost, 4 health Clash card that draws us cards most of the time. Next, I am running for Colonel Edwards. This is like our main searcher. So important to note, all of our contender weapons, they do, they can search off of him. And they all cost 3 or less. So he can, if he searches any of them, he can play them just directly into play for free. So we'll go over and read the card though. 3-cost, 1/1, which is not really a good exchange rate for your resources for power of a card, but its ability, I think, more than makes up for it. It has trigger enter. You may reveal the top 5 cards of your deck. If you do, you may put a weapon with an initial resource cost of 3 or less from among them into your accessory zone. Put the remaining of the cards on the bottom of your deck in any order. So being able to search any of these out and put it into play is pretty key. Next, I have 2 copies of Weber Holding Ground. This is one of the ways that we can get our, contender weapons and Oblivion back, out into play. It's a 3-cost, 2/2, trigger enter, return target weapon from your Oblivion to your accessory zone, and then Moxie Clash cards get +1 health. We don't care about that. It's a body that gets back our blown up stuff, especially if we're like using the Flame Shield to negate attacks and such. Next, I have 4 copies of Moxie Alpha Hunting Specialist. This is one of my favorite cards in the game, actually. I really like this card a lot. One, the artwork is cool. That's why I got a bunch of foil ones. But it's just an all-around great card. 2-cost, 3 attack, 1 health, and it has trigger enter. You may reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. If you do, you may put a Weber or Edwards Clash card with an initial resource cost of 3 or less from among them into your Clash zone engaged. Then put the remaining cards into your Oblivion. So she can get one of these 2. It's always great if you hit a Weber, and then if Weber hits one of these. And basically, it digs through the deck 3 cards, no matter whether we hit something or not. If we get these contender weapons into Oblivion, we have Khagan's ability to eventually get them back. We have the Weber to get them back as well. So very, very solid card. And then to help with the resource curve, we have 2 of the Kilimanjaro, the Versatile. Just a 2-cost, 2/2, which isn't bad, but it has the green and black resource icons, so it can, once it's in play as a resource, it can tap for either or. And it has this bound ability, which means only one of them can be a resource at a time, which is why I only run 2. Though with how greedy this deck is with its resources, I'm really considering dropping the amount of Clash cards I have by 2 to add 2 more of these just to help get, one of these in play as a resource. Next, we have 4 copies of Pestilence the Infectious. Again, this is another just great staple card for the game, especially if you're running green. It's a great card, and it's a little expensive and a little hard to find. So if you're running green, I still recommend trying to get your play set of these. You're gonna need them, just like the Khagan the Dragons. Just get them. This card's a 1-cost, and it's a 2/1. It has trigger enter. Target clash card gets -2/-2 until end of turn, and if the portal is closed, you discard a card. So we don't really care about the portal being open or closed, and we don't really care about discarding a card. You know, if we have to, great. You know, it's not like a huge detriment. We could even be kind of cheeky and discard one of these and then get it back with Khagan, or playing Edwards to get it into play for free to avoid having to like pay the cost for it. But really, this is just a really good removal card. It slows our opponent down. It deals with a lot of the cheaper cost cards that are very strong in this game, like Torque and Lin. Just all around decent card. I have 4 copies of Moxie Preparing for Battle. It's just a 1-cost, 1/1 on enter, draw 1 card. It's probably one of the weaker cards in here, but card draw is card draw, and also having board presence is decent. And then finally, to round out the clash cards, another one of the weaker end cards, but still not bad. It is a Magnate Cunning Planner, 1-cost, 1/1. When it's defeated, you draw a card. So it's kind of like the opposite of Moxie, almost. Again, board presence, card draw, chump blockers. You know, it kind of does everything we need. Now for the rest of the deck, and I'll start with the Clash Grounds. I have 8 Clash Grounds in here. The more I'm playing this game, the more I realize being able to control the Clash Grounds your opponent have in play by playing a bunch of yours is really key. So that's why I upped the number quite a bit compared to my other decks. But I have Amazon Rainforest, 4 of them. It is a 1-cost and has trigger enter, draw a card, which is really good. And then during the draw step of each player's expansion phase, they draw 1 additional card and then discard a card. So it does help our opponents, but it also is this card filtering for us to dig for our equipment. That's basically what our next Clash Ground does too, which is Denver. 1-cost, and it has Alpha Hunter and Rogue Clash cards, get +1 attack. We don't really care about that too much. Like, we have some of it, but it's not why we're playing it. As trigger enter, draw 2 cards, and then discard a card. So again, it's just more card draw, more filter to find our equipment pieces. Next is the traps. I would have 4 Dreadful Decimations in here, but I don't own 4, so I just have 3 Magnate's Trap as like placeholders. Ideally, I would want 4 of these though, because this card is really good. It's a 6-cost, it has 4 green pip requirements, and it says you may reduce the resource cost to activate this trap by 1 green pip for each progenitor clash card in your Oblivion. We have a decent amount. You know, we got the Pestilences, and well, that's pretty much it, but still. These are cards that we're not going to be resourcing, we're going to be playing, and they're probably going to be dying, which will end up making this card a little bit cheaper. It has counterattack. Target attacking clash card gets -6/-6. If that clash card is defeated by this effect, you may activate the portal. I don't really care about activating the portal, but -6/-6 is really good. Pretty much deals with almost everything in the game. So very, very solid card. And again, these would be 3 more, but I don't own 3 more. I will be going to ClashCon this weekend, so hopefully I'll be trading for the 3 that I'm missing. But you know, Magnate's Trap is not bad either. 2-cost, 1 green pip requirement, and it has counterattack. Send target attacking clash card with an initial resource cost of 2 or less to Oblivion. Then that controller, the clash card's controller, discards a card, which is pretty good. 2 for winning your opponent is always a good deal. And then lastly, to round out the deck, we do have 4 of Khagan's Clash Buff card, which is Dragonheart. 1-cost, you may only play this card if your contender is a green alpha. And it says target contender you control gets +2/+2. I mainly use this as like defense tech, just to stop damage, because we are trying to control the board while digging for 4 cards to get our endgame finisher, while this over here also beats the opponent's face in. So primarily just buffing our contender's defense with that +2/+2. Then it also has, look at the top 3 cards of your deck. You may reveal a non-clash card from among them and put it into your hand, and then put the remaining cards on the bottom of your deck in any order. So non-clash card, it's all of our like control-ish type pieces, and it's also our contender weapons. So this card is ideally digging for the contender weapons. So yeah, not bad. It fits the theme and strategy all around pretty well. So anyway, that is my Khagan deck. I have been enjoying this quite a bit. I actually had a green-black Kilimanjaro Reanimator deck that I was really enjoying. But the 4 booster boxes I got, which it's my bad for not posting box openings, but I kind of got carried away opening the set, because set 4 is amazing. It is hands down their best set, and it just kind of swept me away opening all the boxes, and I just completely forgot to do box opening videos. So my bad on that one, but it's Rising Empire Studios' fault for making such a good product. Oh, also, don't forget you need a gate card too. So I ended up getting a foil, which is pretty sweet. But I've in my boxes I opened a lot of Khagan stuff. I actually got 2 of the legendary helmet, and I got a bunch of the iconic Clash buff art, and I even got like one of the full art ones too that Team Covenant had sent me randomly, which is pretty sweet. So I wanted to try the deck out, and so a lot of the Kilimanjaro stuff is actually in this deck, and I took it out, built this deck, played like 5 or 6 games, and I actually had more fun playing this deck than the Kilimanjaro one. So yeah, I stuck with this. If you'd like to see that Kilimanjaro Reanimator deck, let me know in the comments down below. And I will have a link to the official deck list on the Alpha Clash deck builder in the comments down below. And I'll also have an invite to my Discord down below for, eventually next year I'll be doing tournaments and like random giveaways on the channel that will be announced on the Discord. So anyway, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. If you have any like suggestions on making this deck a little bit better, or if you have like a competitive version of this, let me know down below. I'd like to see that. So anyway, thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you all next time. See ya.